Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to part 2 of God of War Ragnarok with a Therapist. I appreciate so much that you are willing to make it to part 2 with me, with Kratos, and with Atreus. Yes, that's right, Atreus. I am well aware that I said Atreus wrong all throughout part 1, so if you gave me the benefit of the doubt, that I would recognize that thanks to the help of comments and TikTok. Here we are. For future reference, if you create content, say Atreus. I promise you, you will avoid a lot of strife. But seriously, thank you so much for indulging yourself in this playthrough. I assume that because you're here for part 2, it's because you enjoyed part 1. And as a reminder, I don't claim to be correct on my analyses. It's just my perspective, and I'm so glad that so many of you are interested in what my perspective is. I encourage you to leave a like on the stream, to leave a comment if you feel so inclined, and to follow all the links down in the description, and tell people about this playthrough if you think they could benefit from it, because truly that is the best way to support what I do here. I'm grateful for all of your support, and I look forward to what we have ahead of us here in part 2, because part 1 was a doozy. So, all right, let's see what we got here from our good friends who we haven't seen since 2018.
Kratos, it's Sindri and Brock. That was quite a fight. Can we?
Oh, now! Odin is with Atreus.
Oh no. I'll go get a gateway ready.
Come on, then. Ain't a long walk.
I always liked these two. Good comic relief.
Must check on Atreus.
Yeah, I wonder where the hell he even is, given the fact that Thor
Well,
took us a
good to see you
bazillion miles
making
away.
new friends. Ain't that Mjolnir pack a punch? You know we made that hammer, right?
You have mentioned it.
I know that. Wasn't ever sure you were listening. Least it was good to see the axe hold her own. Kind of the point, after all.
That's actually kind of cool. I didn't realize that they made Mjolnir. He's got some hops. Also, that's really neat that that lightning is essentially like a tree. Didn't know Thor could do that.
All set. This'll get you home.
I assume that I have not seen these two in the years since Baldur was killed.
Hey, one last thing there, Tiny. If you got Aesir at your door, then I reckon your protection stave's busted. Once you chase Odin off, you got another place to lay your head tonight? And I don't mean that talky fella.
I will not abandon my home.
Oh yeah? And what's to stop the all-fucker from spying on you? Or Raven pecking your house to splinters while you're asleep in it? Nothing, that's what. You go get your boy, and I'll speak to a certain someone about putting you up at his place in a pinch.
Thank you, Blue. There's a fine line between helping a person better understand the possibilities of their context and injecting anxiety into their situation. And in that instance, I'm not entirely sure that Brock is helping us. He comes off as if he's trying to be helpful by considering these what ifs, but these are relatively simple what ifs that I'm sure Kratos has thought about. So it makes me wonder if there is something going on with Brock there in terms of his own anxiety about what could happen to Kratos that he is throwing into the situation and into the pot in the hopes that Kratos will address it. Because I bring this up only because as a point to illustrate is be mindful when you are adding what ifs to the pot on somebody's situation, because if it's coming from your own anxiety instead of from like actual helpfulness, you're making it about you and your own worries as opposed to actually being helpful to the person that you're talking about. I don't know which is the case here, but chat, don't tag me and mess with me on pronunciations if it's not true. That honestly is going to be a bannable offense going forward because that's going to drive me nuts. So, mods, if somebody does that again, you can get rid of them. Okay. So Atreus is just chilling here?
Brother!
I was about to look for you.
Are you hurt?
Are you?
What does he want?
To, pay for the roof. And he invited me to Asgard.
Did he? I couldn't hear once he went outside.
I told him no. Obviously.
Good. Why were you searching for Tyr?
If I told you I was looking for him, you would have said not to.
So you hid the truth from me.
I wanted to tell you. I really did, but now that you know, there's something you should see.
No.
Just trust me, you'll want to.
Trust! You have broken my trust.
Then let me regain it. Let me show you what I found. Besides, we haven't seen the last of Odin or Thor. And clearly they can just walk in and blast holes in our home whenever they want. There's only one way to get them off our backs. And I think I know how. Sir.
I am not generally one to take sides in this kind of space. it is hard for me not to take the side of Kratos, which might surprise people. So I'm obviously going to explain why that's the case here. It is, I think, developmentally makes sense that Atreus would go and seek out Tyr without telling his father because of his worry of what that will mean and how Kratos would respond to it. But one of the issues that happens in that kind of dynamic, and the point that I want to make here, is that when you make decisions based on what you think a person's reaction to it will be, and you potentially put that person at risk by doing so. I don't know that it necessarily puts Kratos at risk here, but there's obviously a reason why Kratos is not open to the idea of Atreus going and seeking out Tyr. You strip, in this case, Kratos of his ability to evaluate that request, share his hesitation, and problem solve that with his son. So the trust that is discussed in that dynamic goes beyond just, you lied to me via omission by seeking out Tyr without my permission. And it really goes deeper, I think, to, you just showed me that you don't trust in my ability as your father who is facilitating your emerging autonomy to talk about this with you. You're not giving me the benefit of the doubt in my own development to show you that I actually am willing to have that conversation with you. And it may be that they end up saying no, but at least at that point, there was a collaboration that happened between the two of them. Atreus, by going off and doing that and not telling Kratos what he was doing, removed the possibility of that happening. Now, there are certain circumstances where this would make more sense. In cases of abuse, I think it's okay if you're needing to do something to protect yourself. But we have not had any indication that Kratos is an abusive father to Atreus. So Atreus was doing this more as avoidance of whatever anxiety or worry that he would face at the idea that his father would be annoyed or say no to the fact that he's seeking out Tyr. And so Atreus needs to learn to, in some ways, advocate for himself and communicate in more of a sophisticated way with his father by saying, Dad, I'd really like to have a conversation about me seeking out Tyr, and I want to get a better idea of where you're at with that. Instead of assuming offhandedly that Kratos is immediately going to say no. Maybe he will, but maybe he won't. Allow people to respond to you rather than assuming their response ahead of time. I'm doing my best with the Atreus thing. You guys are going to have to bear with me. I will say I do not need you to point it out to me every time I mess it up. I'm working on it. I can tell when I'm saying it.
Shelby,
Nice.
gather your things.
Armor and equipment improve stats like defense to help Kratos survive, and strength to do more damage. Equip gear before heading out. I will do that. So, a quick word about Kratos saying, hey, then show me. I give him a lot of credit for that. There's a lot of really good development with him in the small chunk of the game that we've played so far. He took a second to think through what it was that Atreus was bringing to him. And perhaps recognize that maybe there's something to it. I think he also got smacked in the face a bit by Atreus's autonomy in seeing that he sought all of this out and that he didn't catch it. And so Kratos is having to really confront the fact that he's not able to keep full tabs on Atreus anymore. Atreus is starting to build his own way of navigating the world and looking into it and researching it. And that's pretty cool. That's exciting. It's something that I think Kratos eventually wants for his kid. So it's on him in that moment to walk it back and be like, okay, maybe there is something to this, and maybe it is worth my while to listen to what my son has to say. And he already went and figured something out. So, okay. At least let me go with him. At least he told me now. And I think that's going to score big points with Atreus, because Atreus is going to see that he's taking him seriously here. And I think it makes it so that Atreus is perhaps more open to sharing some of these things with his father going forward. Because, and he really needs to pay attention to the fact that he brought this up to Kratos and Kratos didn't shut it down. He shut it down for a second and then he thought about it and he came back and he said, okay, show me. Which means that his father is working on it. And Atreus would do well to notice that, because this has to work in two different directions. Kratos has to acknowledge the emerging autonomy and knowledge and evaluation of the world that his son is engaging in, and that he has the ability to go figure this out for himself if he continues to say no, and he's going to exert that autonomy against him if he does. And Atreus has to recognize that his dad has to develop into that space and has to have the opportunity to show him that he appreciates his development. So hopefully this will make it so that Atreus doesn't do more behind Kratos' back, because Kratos is showing a willingness to be curious about what's going on. Alright, press X to view chest armor. Okay. Equip armor. Vidar's Pauldron of Might. Well, that's badass. Okay. Select weapons. Press L2 to navigate to the weapons. Open Leviathan Axe menu. Axe attachment. Wooden knob. Furious Maul. Oh, that's cool. Alright. I want the glaives, though, man. For more info, learn about stats at the Stats Help overlay. Take time to review this now. Strength increases damage dealt. Defense decrease incoming damage. Increase power of runic attacks. Increase max health. Gain additional rewards. Reduces wait time for abilities to refresh. Okay, that's all pretty self-explanatory, I think. Blades of Chaos. There they are. Shield. Spartan Rage. Fury. Atreus is good. Sweet.
Are you ready? Go.
This is a really big moment for Atreus. And for Kratos. I really, both of them.
And keep the change, you bastard!
Follow Atreus into the forest. Odin. Like his son before him, Odin has come to our door. He does not seek vengeance for Baldur, but instead he speaks of peace and inaction. Odin claims that Atreus has been searching for Tyr and has requested he halt this endeavor. I am not pleased that he knows more about what my son is doing than I. While I do not approve of what Atreus has done behind my back, I will not abide the gods of this realm coming to my home and dictating our actions. Nice. If he does not want us searching for Tyr, it is likely that it is exactly what we should be doing. I must note that he offered a deal of peace for our inaction. If I did not have better counsel, I would have been tempted to take it. His threat to Freya made this impossible. She may persist as a danger, but to ally against her with her former husband is unacceptable. That's interesting. I wonder what his thought process behind that is, and I don't necessarily have a theory. Not at this time, anyway.
Where are we going?
The old temple in the Wildwoods.
Why?
It'll be easier to explain once we're there.
So, I'm guessing that
Didn't
Atreus...
say anything else while you were outside.
Yeah. He said he doesn't care about Jotunheim anymore. That the giants can keep their secrets. He's averted Ragnarok his own way. You think he knows all the giants are dead?
I'm more concerned that it no longer matters to him. What's he up to?
That's a huge power move by Odin. When you keep people guessing and you have them on their toes and you have them guessing at your motivations, there's an immense amount of power there. Reason being is because at that point what happens is people will start to project onto you. When you don't give people the straight answer on what your motivations are when you're in a position of power, that's really a way to grab more of it. And you will actually learn more about the people who are chasing after you as a result. So by Odin being as cryptic about this as he is and leaving these little breadcrumbs, he actually has the opportunity to learn more about what Kratos and Atreus and everybody else think about his motivations based on their actions relative to him. It's really like a 4D chess kind of deal here, and it gives me a lot of respect for Odin's thought process on this stuff. Even though maybe he's not using it for good, I can appreciate that he understands a way to wield power over, in this case, Kratos, who is significantly more powerful than him, I would venture. There is power in unpredictability. We've talked about that in several other playthroughs. Odin seemed very unpredictable in the meeting, too. Opening with the almost accusation that Thor's sons to Kratos, and then pivoting right to self-defense and kind of throwing that in Thor's face. Yeah. Really good way
What happened
for...
here? So close to home.
Are raiders warring with one another now?
Those are not their arrows. Something else is out here.
Because there's just random chests in the forest. But Odin would be quite the poker player? Probably.
More
Mostly
over
because...
here. And fresh. Did they all get in while the state was down?
That, or Odin cocked up the protection spell altogether.
What do you see?
Just animal tracks.
I do like as well Kratos asking Atreus what he sees. You can tell that one of the things that's on the forefront of Kratos' mind relative to Atreus is, I want my son to think about the world that he lives in. I want him to evaluate all of the data when he sees an anomaly. Which is why I think even though he's angry about the fact that Atreus was searching for Tyr behind his back, I think he can acknowledge that that is a sign of maturity to some extent from Atreus. And he's got to fight through a bit of the dissonance on that. I think it also gives Kratos a point of self-reflection, in that he can ask himself, what is it about me and the relationship with my son that made it so that my son wanted to do this big giant identity search without me? What does it say that Atreus is afraid of my answers to his requests to learn more about himself? If Kratos can get into that mindset, really if all of us can get into that mindset when we see the way that people react and respond and project onto us, we can really learn a lot about ourselves and evaluate our relationships with a hell of a lot more nuance, which I think is necessary as we build maturity. So I think there's a lot going on in this in terms of both of them having to evaluate that dynamic and what this means that we're searching for Tyr, and that Atreus was able to get all this information without Kratos' assistance. It's cool that he's kind of like, you tell me what you see, instead of constantly saying, I see this, and this is, look how great I am, and yada, yada, yada. It's pretty cool that he can facilitate that a bit for...
Lista.
Oh, what the hell? Wait, does this not burn this? There we go. There we go.
Almost to the bridge. Oh, guess the bridge gave out. Gonna need another path to the temple.
Why would you come out this way alone, lad?
I had dreams calling me here.
Dreams.
Yeah, you don't like those because
Hey,
yours suck.
try using your blades to pull this down. Please.
I love it. I really do love it. Now, Mimir, in some ways, is asking the questions that I wish Kratos would ask. Like, why did you come out here? I really think it would go a long way for Kratos to show some curiosity toward why Atreus came out here. Glad Mimir is here to do it.
Whoa, that one's still alive.
No. Look closer.
Hell Raiders now? Who's doing this?
Suppose it's too much to hope that an enemy of theirs would be a friend of ours.
Yeah, probably. Whoa! Could have warned me. Seriously, who'd be stringing up raiders like that?
Hell Raiders. Your standard stag-styled raider, only dead and far more dangerous for it. Relentless, frenzied, rageful creatures, lighting them on fire should help them calm down. Oh, interesting. Okay. Not in the mood.
You see something down there?
Atreus wants to go that way. Why not go off the beaten path, huh? Just some hack silver chilling down here, that's all. Gotta get that money.
Hold.
Whoa! Bloody hell, brother. What was that?
Something strong and dangerous. Be on guard.
Oh yeah, being all the way on guard.
Oh, well, it went that way.
There's the temple now. Just need to find a way around.
Man, we live this close to this thing, and you're telling me Kratos has never been around here?
Whatever it is, it works fast.
All right, let's go. Hey, John, good to see you, man. Man, these are so damn satisfying to use.
When did this bridge collapse?
Oh, a while ago. Wasn't me.
Interesting.
Remember when I said there was someone who might help us get answers about the giants and Loki?
You mean Tyr, the old god of war in these lands, who is dead?
Well, for a dead man, Odin seemed pretty keen on seeing he wasn't found.
Right? He knows Tyr could unite the realms against him. Plus, Tyr was the giant's greatest ally. So...
Enough.
Interesting. So if I'm Atreus here, my sense based on the way that Kratos responds to this is that Kratos knows something that Atreus doesn't. We do not know much about Tyr. Like, we don't have a lot of information about him at this point. So, I'm assuming that that is some of the information that Kratos probably has that we don't have. So, are you liking it so far? It's been great, finance guy. I love the first one, so.
Raider! On the left!
Good hit, brother.
That pillar wasn't in the way last time I came.
Well, so that would suggest that somebody else has been here. Hell yeah. That's how it's done, boy.
Like I was saying, Tyr was an ally to the giants. So he'd be on our side if we find him. And if anyone might know who I'm supposed to be, it's him. If he's out there, we gotta find him. How can we not?
Those are many ifs, Atreus. What do you know?
You'll see soon.
I love that because Kratos he literally just said what I'm going to expand upon here, which is there's a lot of assumptions being made by Atreus. And Atreus is at an age where he is beginning to experience the ability to engage in formal operational thought, which in layman's terms is essentially the ability to think abstractly. It means that you can start to draw conclusions based on symbols and deductive reasoning and all this fun stuff that you generally don't have access to when your brain is developing as a child. But unfortunately, because Atreus is still a teenager and his brain is not fully developed, and it's a skill that he hasn't fully developed, he is limited in his ability to see that there are extreme limitations to what it is that he's presenting here. And Kratos is exactly right. There's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of assumptions. The two of them cannot afford assumptions. Atreus is making these conclusions, I think, in part based on his own inductive reasoning, his own bias, his own sense that, well, if I met another giant, I would give them the benefit of the doubt. So they must give me the benefit of the doubt if we find them. That's not a terrible perspective, but it's a limited one, and it's one that they can't really afford, given especially the fact that Kratos has such a long history of engaging with various people and gods and giants and stuff in this world. So when Kratos says, cool, that's a lot of ifs, but what do you know? What are the known variables here instead of the unknown variables that you're drawing conclusions on? That's a really beautiful way to scaffold Atreus' thought process on this, of recognizing that you can't act on only what ifs, or you can, but you really put yourself at risk by doing that. That you should really try to minimize the unknown variables and maximize the known variables. And in this case, we want to act somewhat conservatively because we could be at massive risk if we take unknown variables and assume they're known. So it's a really good way to get Atreus to think more about his thought process and the conclusions that he draws and the way that he acts on it as a result. So I really love that. Very cool. And it's a great way to do it. Those are a lot of ifs, but what do you know? He's not shaming Atreus for the way that he went through that thought process. He's simply suggesting you got to think about this other thing too, and he simultaneously empowers Atreus to consider what he knows instead of saying like, yes, but you don't know these things, so what you've just said is worthless. He's saying, yeah, it could be, but there may be more to it, and you ought to consider that. Also, I love that the game gives you visual cues in the form of like Atreus looking up to tell you where to go next. Nice, very subtle-ish touch. And I definitely appreciate that. Also, there's got to be some way for me to get down there that I missed. Or maybe not. I don't know. Might as well block that path in case there's somebody behind us, huh?
Can't imagine what the lad's found, but he says he has evidence. We've come this far. Let's see it.
I like the little consult with Mimir there. See, that is one thing I appreciate a lot about Kratos, is he does not pretend to be a know-it-all. He is willing to acknowledge his shortcomings on knowledge of the world, and he is constantly learning about it, and he very much respects Mimir and is willing to check in with him. I admire that a lot because Kratos is a badass. He can beat the shit out of anybody, but he can't necessarily outthink them. As smart as he is, he can't necessarily outthink them. And so his willingness to consult and acknowledge what he doesn't know and get some additional information and perspective, both from his son and from Mimir, chef's kiss, man. Huge amount of maturity there.
We should keep moving.
Flame whiplash. Mash triangle to charge up the blades of chaos with fire.
Too late.
Oh, that's cool.
Father, get your blade! Burn that!
Wah, 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 wah. Oh, I didn't want to do that yet. Oh well. Yeah.
Right side! Father!
The hell? Where's that coming from? There we go. Good job, Atreus. Alright, let's see who these folks are. While most raiders favor the strength and pride of the stag for their fields, scouts favor the owl for its sharp eyes and sharper talons. They often claim to be able to peer through the eyes of Midgard's owls, but this strikes me as boastful havers. They favor ranged attacks and are deadly accurate with their slings. Scout slingshot is a painful nuisance at a distance. Thankfully, they're slow to use. At close range, the advantage is yours. Where to go? Where to go? Oh, right here.
Isn't it nice how Fimbulwinter wore down all the helpful magic we acquired? Yet somehow new terrors only flourish. As if on cue.
The hit detection on these is so on point, and I love it. What is this?
Kill. Winterman.
Yup, you got it. Wonder who they mean.
The runes appear to be the work of raiders, but I do not know the Winterman. Their attacks have increased of late. Perhaps he's the source of their agitation. All right.
We climb.
On it.
Ah, he has gotten rather good at that.
I've taught him well.
Yet another grizzly.
Nista! Nista!
I've seen my share of bloodshed, but this is an awful lot for one morning.
Oh boy. That went right through me. Holy shit. Punch.
A stalker! On your guard, brother! I think we found our predator!
Nista! Its horns are glowing! Might be a weak point!
Your shield's busted, brother!
Oh shit, I don't have a shield. Okay.
Behind!
Oh.
I just bloody terrific. Fimbulwinter Freya, the raiders, Thornod and barging in, and now stalkers preying in our woods. This is no safe haven anymore.
Runic attack gems give Kratos access to light or heavy runic attacks. They're slotted into his weapons. Each weapon can hold light and heavy runic attack gems. When equipped, a runic attack slowly gathers runic energy that can be released in a powerful attack. View the axe. Light runic attack. Winter's Bite. Form a mass of ice around the Leviathan axe and run up to strike a target with incredible force. Alright. Can do. Shield. How you doing, shield? Broken Guardian Shield. Bummer. Okay. Let's read a little bit. I do really enjoy reading the codex on these. Stalker. Stalker huntresses are worshippers of Skoi, a legendary giantess renowned for her hunting expertise. They're usually a peaceful group wanting nothing more than to find their next challenge. It appears recent times have made some of them far more aggressive and ruthless. It can't be said if it's completely Fimbulwinter's fault. As with much of the pain in these realms, I suspect Odin's tampering with the natural order has something to do with it. Skadi. Okay, cool. Skadi.
Father, the shield Mom gave you.
Skadi.
Thor damaged it. But now,
Perhaps the dwarves could take a look at it.
perhaps, later.
Come on, we can get in this way.
Yeah, but there's more stuff to explore, Atreus. New lore scroll. The Ashen God. It is the Ashen God's fault. She told us. The witch said the Ashen God murdered Balder, and in so doing started Fimbulwinter. She said if the god dies, Fimbulwinter will end. No more night, no more cold, no Ragnarok. We ran out of food a week ago. No matter. Soon we will feast on god flesh. Ooh. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good to us. Apparently me and Atreus are the Donner Party. Or we were going to find the Donner Party here.
Why
I hope somebody gets that reference.
Okay. You remember all those shrines we found, telling the stories of giants? How the panel on the left would be their origin, and the panel on the right would be their fate?
Yes, we found many. I have seen them.
Well, there's more to them than we realized.
Okay. As if that was gonna work.
How do you always know how to find those?
Because I'm a freaking doctor, bro. And because there's a big-ass wide opening straight to the left. Come on, Atreus. You're smarter than that, buddy. How do you always find the giant gap to the left of the place of the thing that you need to go to, Dad? Fine, I appreciate the admiration.
Well, the collapsed pillar is new, but the shrine is just on the other side.
I like that.
Things collapsing on a regular basis in these parts.
Fimbulwinter wears down all things. Even stone.
Don't you see the button prompts, Atreus? Well, I don't know, man. We saw that blue shit come out of the dog, and Atreus apparently didn't see it. So, I mean,
That should help. There we go. Come on.
oh, these.
You watching?
Dude,
Well, that's new.
how the hell did you find that, dude?
Come on.
Atreus, wait!
Yeah, I don't think he's waiting.
Whoa.
What is this, lad? Where are we?
Somewhere only giants were meant to see. These shrines tell their stories to the world. But it turns out the real stories, the secret stories, those they kept here, inside. You remember the story of Skull and Hati, the wolf giants? Odin captured them because he thinks it'll help him control when Ragnarok starts.
I remember.
But that's not the whole story. See, this shows the giants setting Skull and Hati free.
They're free. Is this the past or the future?
Depends when you're looking at it.
Spoken like a giant.
See? The wolves are safe. Somewhere in Vanaheim.
Not the first place Odin would look, I suppose.
There they are, chasing the sun and moon.
Old habits.
Until, look, the moon gets stolen. Somehow.
Atreus.
See? Hati's got nothing to chase.
And they say celestial theft is a victimless crime.
Not totally sure who this is, but someone comes along and rescues the moon. And then, the moon blocks out the sun.
A total eclipse. I haven't seen one of those in 100 winters.
But then they chase an arrow, and things go back to normal.
What does any of this have to do?
We're coming to that.
Patience, Kratos.
Look, here's Ragnarok. Do you see who's leading the armies against Odin? That's Tyr. If he's gonna be around at Ragnarok, that means he's gotta be alive. Right?
Mimir, can this be?
Odin told me he killed Tyr, and he trusted me at the time, or so I thought.
What if he didn't kill him? What if he's just had him locked up somewhere all this time?
We are back to ifs. Enough.
Wait,
We are going home.
wait! I have one more thing to show you. It's just out here.
I do find it interesting that Atreus has learned enough about his father at this point to know that he has to kind of pique his curiosity in order to get him to follow. Like, he does in some ways use Kratos' curiosity as a means to influence him. And I appreciate that a lot. It works for us as a plot device playing the game, but it also, I think, works in terms of the dynamic between him and his father. Because Kratos is so like, yes, this is what's going to happen. We're going home. This is it. And Atreus is like, no, 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 no. We got like one more thing, Dad. Huh? It's nice. I like it.
What is this?
Everything I found. Well, almost everything.
Maybe a bit risky to write it down in public, dude.
That's giant craftsmanship. You've been to Jotunheim again?
No, I found it in one of the other shrines.
Other shrines. How many have you visited?
Well, all of them? All the ones I could still get to in Midgard anyway. I don't know what it is. But it's important. Just like all this. When I was inside one of the shrines, I saw an image of Tyr imprisoned. But I couldn't tell where. There are hints inside the other shrines. They mention black smoke and the bleeding earth. But we can never figure out exactly. Yeah, Sindri's been helping me. Look, I talked him into it. It wasn't his idea. I just needed someone to watch my back.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. That is a dagger. Oh. So not only did I assume that you were not gonna let me do this, so I went out and did it on my own because I didn't trust your ability to hear what I have to say and to indulge my curiosity. I still acknowledged that I needed help and somebody to watch my back, and I didn't let it be you. That is like the ultimate dagger for Kratos. And it is one that I think probably gets way down into him. And I don't think, Atreus isn't doing that intentionally, but these, man, are the moments in parenting that, oh, they hurt. And it's a really important moment for a parent. Because, again, it's a point of reflection. You could choose to look at that as a personal shot, or you could choose to try to be more curious about what that means for your child's developing sense of how they navigate the world. Because there are things to appreciate in what Atreus did. He recognized he needed help. He sought help from somebody he trusted. And he was largely successful in accomplishing his goal. So, despite Kratos probably defaulting back to Atreus's in danger and a dum-dum for doing this on his own, he also has to sit with a sense of appreciation that he didn't need him to do this. He's inviting him in now. And that says a lot too. He did a lot of homework before inviting his dad in and recognizes that his dad has a role in this. So Kratos has to dig real deep here and recognize that this is not necessarily a personal shot. It hurts. I'm not saying he has to invalidate how much it hurts. That's a hard thing to hear. But if he channels that into anger and intimidation and essentially trying to get Atreus back to feeling like he's 5 years old, he's doing it wrong. It would mean the world to Atreus here, as it would pretty much any teenager, to hear Kratos go, "That is very good that you thought of having your back covered. I'm curious why you didn't invite me into it. Or I wish I could have been that person that protected you, but I can appreciate that you thought your way through this." That is so hard to do as a parent, but you buy so much rapport with your kids when they reach their teenage years if you can go there. And I really recommend a lot of parents reflect on that and find ways to get into that space, because parents tend to take parenting personally and they tend to take emerging autonomy personally. And if you can get out of that headspace, you are going to reach your kids a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot faster than if you act otherwise. So I'm going to be curious to see how Kratos responds to this. You can see that he's immediately going to anger, I think in part because he has a very hard time accessing hurt, but there is not a single doubt in my mind that that hurt like hell for Kratos to hear. Not a single doubt in my mind. And Atreus knows it.
Smoke. Bleeding earth. Could the prison be in Muspelheim?
Unlikely. Odin's got no presence to speak of in the primordial realms. But the Bleeding Earth? Sounds like a mine, aye.
The realm of the dwarves, perhaps.
My man. My man. This is the second time this stream that we have seen Kratos swallow it and take a step back and be intentional about the way that he responds. And he is indulging what's happening here. He clenched his fist. He felt the anger. He recognized that it was there. And he stopped himself and made sure that he acted more intentionally. I give him so many kudos for doing that. Again, we do not change our emotional experience. We change our response to it. Kratos changed his response to it, and he's now engaged. This is going to mean so much to Atreus. And his engagement of Mimir in this, I think, also sends a message to Atreus that he trusts what's going on here and he wants Mimir to be consulted. He doesn't consult very often. Oh, good for Kratos here. That is just, it's so huge for the development of their relationship, which is getting closer and closer to an adult relationship. Awesome job. That's how it's done.
Svartalfheim, that's a good bet. Their mines did belch black smoke, and Odin's had his thumb on the dwarves for a very long time.
That's it then. Tyr's in Svartalfheim somewhere, imprisoned in a mine. So, what now?
He's so proud of himself.
Home.
This way.
Lad, even if we consider looking for Tyr, how do you have us getting to Svartalfheim? You know Odin's had all travel between realms locked up tight.
Sindri said he had an idea or two about that.
Sindri is full of ideas.
Yeah, and Kratos isn't quite there in terms of trusting him. I think there's probably a bit of jealousy there. That's just a guess. Probably tough for him to know that he had his son's trust. But damn. Magni and Modi, the sons of Thor, also pursued us on our journey. Magni was strong but arrogant until his last breath. Modi proved himself a coward, but I pitied him in his last moments. Oh, I read that one. Who am I trying to... Oh, here we go. Skull and Hati. Of all the stories Mimir told us of the giants, this was among the most difficult to believe. Giant wolves with the power to chase day and night and back again? Yet the secrets Atreus uncovered within their shrine reveal they are alive, and perhaps then so is Tyr. Ooh, so he's entertaining the idea that Atreus is right. This is why you read the Codex, friends. Also, I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to anybody who's watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day or night to watch this video and to be on this playthrough with me. I appreciate it so much. And those of you that are here on Twitch live with me and chatting with each other and with me as we play this, I really appreciate you too. Thank you for continuing to be good citizens of the stream by not spoiling and backseating. It really means a lot to me that you're willing to abide by that because it makes this so much better. It's so much more rich for me to analyze things when I'm engaging on the fly. So thank you. And Puentus, thank you for the gifted sub. So I appreciate that, man. I saw somebody ask who is Sindri. Sindri is one of the dwarves. So you have Brock and Sindri. They're the ones that found us after we had the fight with Thor and gave us the portal back home. They had a pretty significant role in God of War 2018. Now, that said, I am a bit with Kratos here because I would be curious to know why Sindri is as engaged with this with Atreus as he is. If I have questions. Because this is a world that has shown us you do in some ways have to be skeptical of people's motivations and why they do what they do, especially the gods. So I think Kratos has every right to be sort of like, what does this mean that he's involved with this? And what's his angle? Because everybody's got an angle, and it's okay to be curious about that.
Huh. Ground looks kind of cracked there.
Mm-hmm.
Nista!
You need to be able to do a Super Mario ground pound.
There's a shortcut this way.
Which way? Where the hell did you go? Oh. Does Link not have his bombs yet?
Remember when we fought our first troll out this way?
I remember you lost control.
We must tread carefully, brother. Danger is close.
You okay fighting without a shield?
It is not my first time. Mimir, did you hear of Odin's offer?
To the lad? Not much. They stepped outside. But he told us about it. I wouldn't worry.
What about the things he did not tell us?
Mimir, I don't think that was a rhetorical question, buddy. You can go ahead and answer that if you like. That is interesting, now that I think about it. That Kratos isn't willing to ask his son about the meeting. He's asking Mimir. Like, I just sitting here thinking about that. There's maybe some little bit of a lack of trust there, or he doesn't necessarily believe that Atreus is capable of reporting accurately what happened, or maybe he doesn't trust that Atreus knows how to read Odin as well as he does, and he wants Mimir to be the one who stabilizes some of that anxiety by saying what he heard. But there is some degree of avoidance there from Kratos to Atreus by him essentially, triangulating Mimir into that. So it says something about Atreus and Kratos that Kratos isn't quite willing to go there and ask him questions yet. I don't have a thought on what specifically it is, but it does stand out to me. I think if Mimir didn't want to be triangulated, what Mimir should say is, that's a question for your son, Kratos. I'm not going to answer it. That's how you detriangulate yourself there instead of being quiet. Like I said, Kratos is going to oscillate throughout this game, I think, between times where he is facilitating the autonomy and development of his son and times where he very much wants to see his son as young and somebody he can protect. And we're going to see him bounce back and forth in that because this is a harder transition for him to make than it is for Atreus.
Raider on the left!
Behind!
Took me wanting to use my shield. Oh, that's a big boy. Who's a big boy? Chief. The Raider Chiefs adopt the strength of the mighty ox for their filja, and visually speaking, it's quite obvious. Massive, hulking forms that can weaponize nearly every part of their body should they throw their weight behind it. According to Raider tradition, chiefs are chosen through several days and nights of combat trials. Only the strongest of warriors are even given the chance, and by the end of the trials, most, if not all, of the contestants are dead, including the winner. Due to drastically dwindling numbers, I think they may have changed their methods. So they're weaker now. Do you think it could be newly lost trust in Atreus at the light of his line come to life? Or come to light. So it is entirely possible that Kratos is not asking Atreus about what happened because of that, but I think that is a gigantic misstep on Kratos' part. What I think Kratos would do well to do here is to soften and approach his son and say to him, hey, I'm hurt by the fact that you thought you needed to go behind my back on this. I also understand why you did it. I get it. Because in the past, I have been quick to say no to things, and I have not necessarily trusted you with stuff like that. But as you grow older, I am more open to these types of things, but I need you to talk to me. So I can appreciate why you didn't tell me it, and I also need you to know that that does not mean that I'm going to hold it over your head for every subsequent thing that we go through for the next few days or weeks or months. I want to trust you, so I want to acknowledge what happened here, and I don't want it to happen again. I need you to communicate with me. And I will communicate with you, and you have my assurance that I will work my ass off to make sure that you and I come to an agreement when we're talking about things, because I still have a lot to offer, and I am recognizing that you increasingly have more to offer. So don't leave me in the dark again, dude, because it puts us at risk when you do that, and I can't afford that risk. That's the mature conversation that a parent needs to have with a teenager when something like that happens. Kratos going into a space where he now avoids talking to Atreus about stuff and assumes that Atreus is lying is only going to cultivate Atreus needing to exert more autonomy and continue to lie to him. It's not going to cultivate Atreus going like, oh, my dad's assuming that I'm lying, so I got to make sure I tell him the truth. You have to bring maturity to that conversation, and you have to bring a recognition of why you were lied to. That's the part that a lot of parents miss out on. And it's a shame when they do that. You have to own up to the fact that sometimes it is because of the way that you've acted in the past that your kids feel compelled to lie to you. And lying and doing things without you is developmentally appropriate. So you are better off scaffolding that and being in the know on that instead of continuing to turn a blind eye or be shitty or personalize it, because your kids are going to continue to do things on their own. You want to be the person they come to when they are interested in engaging in those things and consulting with you. Engaging the way that I just said Kratos should engage with Atreus is the way that you facilitate that dynamic. I have to teach that kind of thing to parents all the time.
Phew. Almost home.
Brother, a word. Don't hold the lad's curiosity against him. It goes with being young.
In my youth, we learned obedience.
And is that what you wish for him? Brother, he's going to walk his own path. If you don't want him walking away from you, then smarten up and walk with him a while.
Mimir! Firing all cylinders, my guy. That's good. That is so well timed. That is so well timed. He could not be more correct. And it's true. Just because you had a pattern as a parent, just because you learned things were a certain way, and that's how it was in your day, does not mean that that's how it has to be now. It's okay to borrow bits and pieces, but it doesn't mean that you have to replay that. And Mimir really locked him in a corner, because I think Kratos would say, if you could really get in there, no, I didn't like that. Being raised as a Spartan sucked ass. Because as a result, I'm a brooding adult who doesn't have access to his emotions, or at the very least doesn't know how to express them well. I never got the benefit of autonomy. And now Atreus has the benefit of flexing autonomy because Kratos has cultivated a safe enough environment for him to do that. Like, that's the thing that you want to get Kratos to realize. Your son is capable and curious and autonomous because you have assisted in creating that. This is the fruits of your labor as a parent who cared very much about making sure that your kid was capable and able to move through the world. So now you have to let that grow. You have to let that fruit get ripe. And Mimir dropping in there and saying that is huge because he is a trusted consultant for Kratos. And the grunt from Kratos at the end there, I think, is a way of him acknowledging, I think you're right, and I'm going to ponder that. But that's really good stuff. Really, 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 really good stuff. And that's the kind of thing that I think is appropriate for Mimir to say to Kratos when Atreus is not in earshot.
If we could find a way to open roam travel to Svartalfheim, I bet there'd be all sorts of useful equipment for us to...
Enough. We will go.
Really?
But if we do not find Tyr, you will abandon your search. For good.
All right. You won't be sorry.
You're killing it tonight, my man. You are killing it tonight, Kratos. So proud of him. I don't normally do this too often in playthroughs, but it's been so salient tonight that I want to just make a comment on it really quick. And particularly on the off chance that anybody from Sony Santa Monica is watching this. Kratos' development is beautifully crafted. I don't know who the folks at Sony Santa Monica consulted with in order to try to make sure that this dynamic was realistic and cultivated properly, but this is so good. This is the kind of stuff that is my absolute bread and butter. It makes it so easy for me to analyze because it is just so well executed. And I just cannot give enough credit to the folks who have created this game in making these dynamics so believable and realistic, because it makes my ability to educate folks through these playthroughs so much easier to do. So just a big shout out to everybody who had a hand in creating this game and designing the story elements and the relationship dynamics, because it is incredibly well done. Incredibly well done. Give me this axe. Oh, this is our backyard. Oops.
Kratos! Over here!
Sindri!
As I live and breathe, is that Atreus? It's been so long. How you've grown.
Oh, yes.
Sindri knows. He doesn't want... He thinks Kratos doesn't know, so he's... That's such a good way to do that. I love that. Yeah, I totally haven't seen you in a long time, man. You've grown so much in all these years. I haven't been helping you find every single piece of art that exists in this realm for the last year. Oh man, that's so good. I had to pause because I was gonna laugh my way through whatever's coming next. It's so good. It's so good. And again, it's a moment of reflection for Kratos. Like, you could take that personally and get shitty with them, or you could be like, I get it, I know, he told me. It's just, I know I'm being a little bit like pointed toward Kratos here, but like, really, truly, he can use this as a way to kind of laugh about the way that he presents. I don't think it does Kratos any good to get angry about this and to be shitty about it. I just really don't.
Well, if you'll follow me, Brock mentioned you needed somewhere safe to spend the night, and I believe your favorite dwarves can help you out with that. We're still your favorite dwarves, right?
You're still the only dwarves we know.
I'll take it.
Now, I will give kudos. So, I'm going to give kudos to Kratos here just very briefly, because Kratos didn't attack Sindri for being involved with Atreus. And I think that that is partially an acknowledgement of what Atreus said to him earlier when he said, this wasn't his idea. I pushed it and I convinced Sindri to get involved with this. And Kratos can't expect that Sindri has the same motivations of protection for Atreus that he does. Ultimately, if Atreus took accountability for this, his anger with Sindri is misplaced. He might be frustrated that Sindri didn't say anything to him. I think Sindri's in a bit of a tough spot, because if he betrays the trust of Atreus, then Atreus might potentially be in even more danger. I think maybe there's even a level of like thankfulness that Kratos could engage in by saying, you know what? I appreciate that you handled the trust of my son in the way that you did, and that you protected him because he wasn't going to come to me, which was obvious now. So thank you for watching over him. I mean, there's different ways that he could approach it, but I really do give him credit for not just immediately grabbing Sindri by the neck and holding him up against the side of the house and saying, how dare you take my son on this journey and cultivate this. I really got to give him more credit there, because usually people will sometimes misplace that blame. In the same way that Freya is blaming Kratos and Atreus for the fact that her son is dead instead of holding her son accountable, Kratos very much could have done the same thing by diverting off of being angry or frustrated or hurt by Atreus and taking it out on Sindri. And you don't want to do that. That's an unhealthy form of triangulation, and it diverts energy and blame where it doesn't need to go. So another star for him in that, because I think it shows that he understands what happened there and that he has to come to accept what happened, and he needs to act in a way that's going to invite himself into this further process rather than be something where he's standing outside the ring and doesn't know what's going on. Kratos is having to reckon with the fact that he doesn't have as much power over Atreus as he used to. When you mention triangulation, what do you mean? So what I mean by that, I'll zoom out for a second to explain this. So triangulation is essentially where you have person one and person two. Let's use Kratos, Atreus, and in this case, Sindri. So if Kratos and Atreus have an issue between them, we would call that like a dyadic issue. There's anxiety and emotion and a problem to be solved between the two of them. What a lot of us do, because we experience that anxiety and that increased emotional experience, what we will do is triangulate, or we will invite a third party in or divert that energy toward a third party as a means to offset that anxiety. So I'm going to use Mimir as the example instead of Sindri. So when Kratos is experiencing frustration with Atreus, not telling him about the fact that he was looking for Tyr, Kratos could address that with Atreus directly, and that would be the ideal. But because Kratos experiences some of that anxiety associated with that, what he does instead is he talks to Mimir about it. He might say, like, what do you think about that? Or, man, I'm really frustrated with Atreus for doing that. Whatever. Well, that's not Mimir's responsibility. Mimir could be a consultant on it if he wants to, but if you overly triangulate other people, what you do is you actually keep the anxiety in place in the dyad instead of actually solving the issue. There's healthy triangulation in the form of like talking to a therapist, perhaps reaching out and getting a little bit of consultation from people, but ultimately, like if Kratos said to Mimir, "Hey, I need you to talk to Atreus and tell him never to do that again," Mimir should say no. Because that is a act of triangulation that further perpetuates the sense that Atreus and Kratos can't talk to each other. So instead, what Mimir needs to do is say, nope, that's for you to deliver to your son. I can consult with you to make you to get to a point where you're more comfortable addressing with Atreus, but that's for you to address with him directly. So you want to solve the problems in dyadic relationships with the person that you are involved with, even if it's painful, rather than outsourcing it and have other people do your bidding. That's essentially Triangulation 101.
After you, my friends.
Oh wow! Thank you for pointing that out, Blue. That's cool. We are no longer safe in Midgard. The dwarf who aided my son in his search for Tyr offers us shelter. I will accept his offer for now. That's cool. So even the quests are written as journal entries. That's neat.
Where are we going?
The cleanest cabin in all the 9 realms. And I'd prefer it to stay that way. Not looking at anyone in particular. Kratos. After that Thor incident, we thought we should make up some rooms, till you can figure out your next moves. Nearly there.
I love that people poke Kratos. I really do. It just gives me such joy that he thinks he's just this impenetrable wall, and everybody's like, "No, I know exactly how to poke you." It's great.
As you can see, we've settled here in the realm between realms. It's nothing much, but it's safe from Fimbulwinter, safe from Odin's eyes. And you really can't beat the view if you're into shimmering gray voids.
That's amazing, Sin. We have a plan to talk to you about, actually.
Intriguing.
How do they know that Odin can't see it? I'm kind of skeptical of that. It seems weird that there would be a realm between the realms and Odin somehow just has
Right
no
this way,
knowledge of
Kratos.
it. This is pretty sick, though. Look at that. My God. Cool ass house.
Come in. Come in! Now, if you would just wipe your feet very thoroughly, I'll wait. You're not gonna wipe your feet, are you? Okay then. Your bedrooms are there, the kitchen is just over there. Anybody need a snack? Kratos? Snack?
I do not need a snack.
What we need is your help getting to Svartalfheim so we can try and rescue Tyr.
To Tyr. Alive? I mean, that's... What?
It's okay. I told him everything.
Everything?
You aided my son.
Oh, here we go.
No,
Oh, shit.
I kept an eye on him. On your behalf. Nothing risky. Everything very safe. Somebody else speak.
What's important right now is that we try and open up travel between realms again. You said you know a way?
Yes, I do. It's just a lot of mud.
And why haven't you opened the way already, man?
Well, to be frank, there was something we needed your help with.
Oh! The Holder brothers finally require the services of the smartest man alive.
That's it precisely.
Hey! Not so fast. How'd that get in here? What the hell is he anyway?
That is my son.
Well, what in all yarns me that happened to him? He's too damn tall now. And he looks like that. I blame you. Well, come on then. Let's get him something that fits at least.
He's just getting older, you daft prat. Didn't you ever have an awkward phase in your youth?
Hey,
I suppose what's done is done. But you'll be putting your foot down from now on if you know what's good.
Oh, he's trying. Believe me.
All right, let's gear you fuckers up before you go off gallivanting.
Oh, my face hurts from smiling.
Busted up good. Wouldn't you rather I just whip you up a new one?
It is important to me.
Well, I'll see what I can do. In the meanwhile, how about I fix you up with something to get you by?
Oh. It's just so good. It's just so good. I have no analysis. Oh. Brock has enough materials to forge a new shield. Navigate to the shields menu. Oh, man.
I only got materials to make one of these in the here and now. You bring me more resources, we'll see what we can do.
A shield fit for absorbing attacks and striking back. A shield fit for high risk, high reward parries. I want the high risk, high reward parries. The Dauntless shield. Speaking of Dauntless, get yourself a Dauntless snack, huh? Go to the website, use code YouMatter for 10% off your order. It'll shield you from hunger in a low risk, high reward kind of way. View armor. Brock will craft some custom armor to fit Atreus. Navigate to companion armor.
If the kid's gonna insist on getting taller, best make a habit of swinging in for new duds.
Brothers Brand Vestment. Armor crafted with care by the legendary Huldra brothers. Said to be one of their finest works. Craftable equipment is indicated with the hammer icon. Well, that looks cool as hell. Yeah. Sweet. I'm currently using Wraps of Survival. I've got a lot of hack silver. I don't know that I'm... I can either upgrade this or I can swap to Fortified or Belt of Might. Additional movement around the joints. Its construction allows the user to swing their weapon with more force, increasing their strength. I don't know. Just don't know that I want to upgrade any of this stuff yet.
Found some items you left behind, tossed them in the chest. What would you do without me?
I'm gonna go look around. Check out my room. Tell Sindri when you're ready.
I do not, General. Brock. The dwarven blacksmith Brock was the first ally we encountered when we set out for the mountain's peak. He and his brother Sindri made the Leviathan axe for Faye, and this has been our common bond. Brock is blunt, with a foul tongue, but there is a wisdom in his bluster. I find him acceptable company. Acceptable? That's not so bad.
This place is great, Sindri. You built it all yourself?
What'll it be?
Leviathan axe upgradable. The frozen flame. Blades of chaos. I don't have a chaos flame. I need one more rawhide. I suppose I might as well do that.
Keep her sharp and she'll keep you alive.
Okay.
Need something special?
I guess. Man, this upgrade is almost better than the.
Hey! Where's the armor I made you?
I used it.
I busted my shapely hunkers, forging every manner of breastplate, pauldron, and all of creation. And yet now you stand before me, two-step from butt-ass naked. Maybe this go-round use it a little more carefully, huh?
I will not.
Now don't go get yourself killed, hear me?
Very well.
Oh god, it's just so good.
And how's life been treating everyone's favorite Azure Vulgarian?
The fuck you call me?
Exquisite.
Oh gosh.
Wait! Those stairs will not support you. Please don't break my house.
Oh, these little baby stairs? Okay, okay. Yeah, you worked hard on it. I get it. I won't be a dick.
See? I knew you wanted a snack.
Hey, come see.
I'll be there in a second. I gotta ruffle Sindri's feathers a little bit here. This is what talking to the mods feels like
I guess
sometimes.
this is where they store the food. Nice to have options if I wake up hungry.
Yeah, I guess so.
Finding everything all right, I hope?
This is opulent, man. Look at this. Look at all the detail. My god, even in the thing that holds the lamp up there. Like, whew. I want to take a second and just appreciate, like, look at all these scrolls and these drawers. Oh, it's just...
How do we unlock the realms?
We'll just need something from back at the workshop. Follow me, and be sure to bring the head. So, where exactly is Tyr being held?
He's imprisoned in a mine somewhere. That's all we know so far.
The realm is full of mines, you realize. You'll need help narrowing it down. Oh, you should talk to Derlin.
Who's Derlin?
He's a cousin of ours, sort of. Works for the city on safety issues. Should have access to all kinds of information on mines. And I know he's no friend of Odin. That's why your mother sought his help when she was trying to whip up a rebellion. Ready?
A rebellion? Did you know about that?
I did not.
A rebel leader who knew Mom. Sounds like exactly what we need.
I think you missed the ta-da. Well, never mind. I'll have this oiled up in no time. Meet you at the gateway outside.
Rebel leader? Derlin? If that ain't giving a hound a haircut.
Huh?
And you just remember things however they pop into your being, don't you? I suppose you think Derlin's just counting the days until a couple of strays show up looking for trouble.
What do you mean, Brock?
Will he help us or not?
No, never mind. It ain't old Brock's place to cast asparagations on my relations. This smudge sponger notwithstanding.
Ignoring you.
Fine. Go darken Derlin's door. See for yourself how it goes. Just be warned, he's not the friendly sort of dwarf folk you're used to. He's cranky as all get out. And he talked funny, too.
Sounds like a true study in contrast.
I've always wanted to see your home realm. Svartalfheim sounds unique.
Svartalfheim? Huh, stupid Aesir name. We look like dark elves to you?
Oh, right. You call the realm something else.
Nidavellir, which is also the name of the capital city and where you should look for Durlin.
Damn city's so full of Odin fuckers nowadays. It ain't hardly somewhere a self-respecting dwarf would show his face.
Harsh, but accurate.
Dark elves are all walking around wearing red caps, huh? Oh, I love it. All right. Well, I say we go there then.
You hear that?
I do, actually.
Are those some kind of dragons? They're so far, I can't tell how big they are.
Red ascots. Can I go in the backyard? No? Okay. I wonder if we'll be able to go to all 9 realms in this one, because I think we could only go to 6 of them in God of War 2018.
We'll just need the Bifrost in the head. Brock, do the touching.
Oh, this would be the part requiring my assistance then.
You said it. This device here has been crafted to your measurements. It'll help you get a better look at the problem with those Bifrost eyes of yours.
So, do I control this thing somehow then?
Oh, no. This is just to hold you in place while we shine this light in your eyes.
Oh, Cindy, you sodding bastard!
Open! Open now! I was really hoping not to use the eyelid clamps.
Do it.
That's it! That's it! Good! Now, release!
Still unpleasant.
Oh, that's our cue. Come on, hurry!
I'm coming.
Grassfuckers, eggs, man. What was that for?
You'll see soon enough. Just have to adjust. There! That should do it. See? No permanent.
I'll show you permanent damage, you wee fuck. Kratos, throw me at him. Horns first.
Guess you takes a joke, you old goat.
It's so good. I thought the same thing. I was like, holy shit, they put him in this thing. Like, does he get to control this? And like, now Mimir's gonna like wheel around while we're in the different realms.
Ready for you, Kratos.
He's like all excited to like control it. Oh my god, it's so good. Nope. You're still hooked to my butt.
The Bifrost is broken.
Now that we've reconfigured these gateways to use Yggdrasil seeds, you won't need a travel table or a Bifrost lamp anymore.
I also used it for light.
Okay, good note. I'll figure something out, but first, come on. Let me show you how it works.
Oh.
Okay, aim your key at the rune for Svartalfheim on the right, then concentrate.
Unlock new access to Mystic Gateways. Shine this light.
To get to any of those realms, you'll need a seed for them.
Okay. Go to map. Hit the gateway or the path. Hovering open the wetlands, mystic gateway to travel. Okay.
This should take you to the wetlands outside Nidavellir City. Just make your way to the town square and ask for Derlin at the tavern.
You sure they'll know him at the tavern?
Derlin's always been an inveterate inebriate. I suppose he might have completely changed, but in my experience,
Did you want to come with us?
Oh, I might drop in, but the wetlands are moist. And the Grim are everywhere. Hostile, slimy, foul-smelling creatures. But good luck!
Thanks. Wait, what?
I said good luck!
Oh, we go this way, I think. Oh, wow.
Whoa. Do you feel that?
What's that, lad?
Anything. Everything. It's warm.
Interesting. So the frost hasn't found its way here yet? I would have figured that every one of these realms was going to be coated with snow. This is awesome.
We can probably use this boat. If I can just get it free.
Well, while you figure that out, I'm going to do some exploring, big dog.
Careful, lad.
Oh, shit.
Why are these things so fast?
Left on the left!
Nista! Nista!
I see we're already off to a lively start.
Atreus, you dropped your guard.
I got the boat free, though. We can head through these channels when you're ready.
There's a dynamic that used to happen in God of War 2018 that has perpetuated itself explicitly here, which is where Kratos will point out that Atreus did something that was risky. So he'll say, like, you know, oh, Atreus, you let your guard down, or you missed that, or you didn't notice that. And when Atreus was younger, he used to hear that as criticism. And I think it made him worry that if it was pointed out to him that his father was, like, disappointed and that he wasn't good enough. We did talk about this a little bit in part 1 as well. And I don't think that Kratos is pointing these things out to say to his son, you're not good enough. I think what he's doing is he's saying, I know that you're capable, but you need to be mindful of your intentionality around how you navigate foreign and novel environments, because you get so lost in the whimsy of it and the novelty of it that you will inherently let your guard down. And I think he's doing that from an educational perspective. I don't think it's a personal shot at Atreus. And Atreus responds by saying, yeah, well, I got the boat. And while that's true and worthy of acknowledgement from Kratos, Kratos is not entirely wrong by pointing out that Atreus let his guard down. So there's a bit of a collaboration that can happen between the two of them, where we can acknowledge that he did something good, but we also can acknowledge that you may love this new autonomy and strength and capability that you have as a teenager and somebody who's more physically capable of doing stuff. And you also need to acknowledge that you are not fully developed yet. And that's not a bad thing. It's not something you need to take personally. It's not something I'm disappointed in. But it does mean that you need some reminders every once in a while, and I'm going to do my best to deliver those to you. There's a lot of jockeying that has to happen between the two of them as they go through this. And so I like that Atreus didn't immediately go back at Kratos and be like, why the hell do you always point out the shit that I do wrong? I think he's learned over time to appreciate that his father's just trying to help him.
chain in the water for?
That'd be a dwarven supply ferry. Said ferry appears to be missing.
Huh.
So this is the dwarven home world.
I still can't believe Mom led a whole rebellion here against Odin and never talked about it.
The fact that it didn't go well might have covered that notion.
What your mother did before we met was her business.
Did you ever ask?
Eyes on the water. There are resources.
Kratos is correct. What happened prior to their relationship is indeed her business. But his reluctance to answer that question by saying no or yes, I think is a bit of a window into some of what got stirred up in Kratos after Faye died. And one of those things, I think it may be a not a lack of curiosity, but a lack of acting on curiosity. Maybe from an assumption that because his childhood may not have been particularly interesting as a Spartan, that hers might not have been. Perhaps there's some regret there that he didn't get to know some of the history of his wife. Perhaps he's recognizing that there may have been more investment in her getting to know him than him getting to know her. There could be any number of explanations for that, but this is one of the things that happens in death. When we talk about death being a cutoff, it freezes a lot of these things in place. And so when Kratos gets this information from Brock and Sindri about how his wife led a rebellion in the dwarven realm, and he didn't know about it, it's a reflection of perhaps he didn't either know to ask or he didn't think to ask, or maybe he thinks that Faye withheld it. But regardless, when Atreus says you didn't ask her and he doesn't give an answer, that immediately tells me that there is some significant ponderance there, and that committing to an answer on that means he has to get into a vulnerable space that in this point in time, being in an area that they have to survive and get to know, he's just not prepared to do. So my hope would be that he could find some time at some point to really sit and reflect on, there were aspects of my wife's life that I didn't get to know and didn't ask about, and I can grieve that. And also then, what does that mean for my curiosity about the people who matter to me now, in particular my son? And perhaps I should be more curious about him so I don't have that experience. Because that sucks to have to confront that, because she's no longer here to answer these questions if I have them. Same thing about what Atreus is and what he's capable of. So we're still going through the grief process on Faye. It's just a little more nuanced
about
now.
What you used to do, what did you talk about when you met? Like, did you just say, "Woman, guard the house. I will go to catch fish in the river," and then leave for 5 days?
No. Your mother was far better at fishing than I.
I love the curiosity there, and it's going to be a long road for Kratos, and I really hope that Atreus can find it in him to be patient with Kratos on this. See, a lot of kids don't take the perspective of their parents when they ask these types of questions. These are difficult questions for him to answer, not because of the pragmatics of it, which is exactly how he just answered it by saying, nah, she's a better fisherman than I am. But it's forcing him to reflect on the dynamics of his relationship that he no longer has access to. There's an entire history of his relationship that Atreus just doesn't know about because he wasn't around for it, or he wasn't at a point where he had memory enough to be able to remember it. And so curiosity about your parents' relationship is a pretty cool thing. And as you get older, people tend to find more curiosity in that, particularly if they have good relationships with their parents. that's going to be deeply painful for Kratos to have to revisit, because if he gets into what it was like to watch Faye fish and what are these conversations like, he's going to have to entertain maybe what he was lacking in some of those conversations, but also he's going to have to feel how awesome that was, which is going to be coupled with the sadness of the fact that she's gone. And if he's trying to curb his anger, which is the only way that he can express that, he's in quite the conundrum, because it's just hard for him to access this when he's at home, let alone when he's out on the frontier having to fight stuff. So Atreus should kind of read that feedback, be appreciative of the fact that his father gave him some information there, albeit very little. Say, hey, I appreciate you saying that. And not necessarily push it. Just kind of read the feedback and be like, all right, cool. I'm going to warm my way up into this. Even though I deserve to know some of this information, I'm not going to go ham on this, because all it's going to do is really... it's going to create some emotional conundrums for my father in doing so. This is so pretty. Oh my god. Love how hurriedly they get into the boat. I think if I go over the barrels, it gives me stuff. Yeah, okay. Some good looking water, man.
Did you see that over there?
I did not. Trying to get this bag.
That wheel is blocking the channel.
I imagine if you can turn it, we should be able to get through.
Indeed.
So these are wetlands, huh? Pretty accurate.
It is a bog.
The smell is making my eyes burn.
You know, it is a fair bit more potent than when I last visited, now that you mention it.
Looks like the path continues on the other side of that geyser. If only we were in Midgard. That water'd be frozen in a second.
Nice hint, dude. Oh.
Brother, you think freezing it would work?
I did. Damn it.
What if you used your axe on it?
Well, I tried. Well, maybe I gotta throw it at the pool of water. Geysers been... Yeah, wait a minute. So, yeah, I did. I was right. Oh, I just... Okay. Oh, I don't even have to charge it. Okay. God damn it.
Looks to be an artifact from the Dwarven Resistance. Mars Brasser, father of a few dwarves you may be well familiar with. Brock may be interested in getting these back. Better in his hands than out in the open.
And we got to read about Sindri. I forgot to do this. On our journey to Jotunheim, Sindri proved himself a capable blacksmith and valuable ally. Now he's been helping Atreus in his search for Tyr. I'm unhappy that this was done without my knowledge, though it is better Atreus was not alone on this path. I will attempt to spare the dwarf my wrath. It may not be easy. Good for you, dude. Exactly what I was talking about. Oh, I forget what that does. There's like... Yeah, you gotta like chuck this thing and all these, and then it opens the chest. Where's the other one? They're always in proximity to the chest. Idun apple. Collected through Jotun apples. Maximum health increased. Oh, cool. By a huge amount. Holy shit. Apparently all this other stuff's junk.
Think that's sturdy enough to climb?
Aye. Good old dwarven craftsmanship.
This just
He was a friend to the Giants. I wonder if he and Mom ever met. If he was a part of the rebellion here.
It's certainly possible. The God of War often advocated for the Giants. Although I don't recall if he ever declared allegiance outright.
This just dawned on me. I'm curious about your thoughts. Do you think Faye kept her past from Kratos because he's an incredibly suspicious person and would ask unwanted questions about the relationship, given the context that he kills gods and she's fought Aesir in the past? I don't know. You'd have to ask Faye. I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but that to me, again, feels a bit presumptive of Kratos. And my sense from the dream, at least, is that Faye was not really one to make assumptions on behalf of Kratos. I don't think their relationship would work if there wasn't some form of like trust. And my guess is that it's more.
There's got to be a faster way to get down there.
It's probably more that Kratos didn't ask about it, or they didn't think it was a necessary thing to talk about, or maybe she did try. Like, we just don't know. We don't have the history, and we don't have her available to us to ask. And that's part of the complexity of the grief that comes along with death, because she's not here to access to answer that question. So we have to sit within some of that ambiguity and some of that frustration, because we don't get to know the answer to that by virtue of the fact that she's no longer available to us. What's the difference between presuming and assuming? Not enough to really matter. Basically the same thing, as far as I'm concerned. Dauntless Shield. Tap L1 at the last second to parry an attack and apply stun.
Watch your right!
Oh, I thought I got him. Okay, I don't want to go up there yet. I want to climb this. Perhaps there's a little bonus up here for me, huh? Yeah. Forged iron ×2. Take it. Yeah.
Okay, there's gotta be some way to turn the wheel up here.
I am sure there is.
Whoa there! Give a man some warning if he's about to suddenly end up snout deep in cheek.
The ground.
Was that an earthquake?
An occasional but not unheard of happenstance in Svartalfheim. With all the mining here, the land's bound to be a wee bit bothered.
Think you can reach the wheel from here?
That wasn't so hard.
Oh wow, nice job getting it to lower exactly where we need it.
Yeah, dude, you should get on The Price is Right. My man Kratos would spin $1 every single time.
I was thinking, because it's so warm, maybe it's not that the cold hasn't made it here yet, but maybe it's just different in Svartalfheim?
Aye, lad. Thimble winter doesn't strike all realms quite the same way.
Weird that Thimble winter doesn't always make it winter.
In Midgard it does, but as you can see, the effects here appear far more gaseous in nature. Observe the geysers. Observe the aforementioned aroma. These effects were present before in some form, but now there's new extremity to them.
That's kind of cool. That answers the thing about snow.
Think we can fit under that bridge?
Hell yeah, we can. Oh yeah. Waiting for something to jump on me. Yeah, the ice skating would be divine here if there was ice. If there was ice, that is true. What the hell was that? Beast scraps. Need as much hex silver as I can get. Nice, thanks, Atreus. Can't jump onto that rock. Good night, Ellie. Good stuff. All right, I think we'll see what's in this cool little steampunky village thingy in part 3. YouTube, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this playthrough and to allow me to be your Sherpa through God of War Ragnarok. I hope my analysis was meaningful in some way. Make sure you leave a thumbs up on the stream before you leave. Make sure you leave a comment if there's something you'd like to say. Share my stuff and follow the links down in the description. I'm really grateful for all of your support. It's awesome, and it motivates me to continue doing what I do. So, much appreciation. I have no doubt that part 3 will be awesome. I am enjoying the absolute hell out of this so far. So, we'll catch you very soon on the next one.